Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to draw your attention to the stage. Please welcome Phil Henderson, President of the Surdna Foundation and Vice Chair of the BoardSource Board of Directors.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. I really hate to interrupt the party. What an amazing day today. Really, you know, I'm a board member of BoardSource, so many of you know the feeling of being a board member and getting to experience both the sense of awe at the work that the organizations on whose boards you might serve, the sense of awe of the work that they do. I felt that today, and I hope that all of you benefited as much as I did as a consumer of the information and the ideas and the energy that we all felt today. What a terrific start to the event, and I appreciate so many of you coming up to talk to me and to talk to our staff people and other board members about your experiences today, because it really helps us know whether what we're doing is useful to you out in the foundation world. So terrific start to the conference. I want to congratulate the staff on the great work they've done to get this started. So my job this evening is to introduce to you Leonard Aube, who is the president of the Annenberg Foundation and our host for this evening's reception. But before I welcome Len, I want to just say another few words of recognition and thanks to various folks who have helped make this possible. Spring Lacey and Renee Data, who are from Prudential. Prudential, as you know, is the conference's presenting sponsor. We're really grateful to Prudential and to each of those two for their support of this conference and for their support of BoardSource and for being with us throughout these 2 days. I also want to say a word of thanks to Target, the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation, Disney, the Commonfund, Russell Investments, Capital and Drysdale, UBS, the Evelyn and Walter Haas Jr. Fund, Streamlink Software, and my own foundation, the Surdna Foundation, as well as the Annenberg Foundation, our hosts this evening, for all of their support for BoardSource and for this event. I think for those of you who live in Los Angeles, Angelinos, you know Leonard Aube and you know the Annenberg Foundation. But I want to just say a word of remarks about Len and about the foundation. Under Len's direction, Annenberg has invested in efforts to strengthen nonprofit board leadership and organizational capacity, issues that are really at the heart of what BoardSource does. And since 2006, their signature program, Annenberg Alchemy, has provided training to more than 1,700 nonprofit leaders from the LA area. A really remarkable achievement. And a number of, shall we call them alchemists, are actually in the crowd tonight. I wonder if you would just raise your hands if you've been a part of that program so we can get a flavor of, it's terrific. Terrific to have you here. I hope that folks will come up and chat with you about the work of that program. Really a terrific contribution to LA and a great example for those of us who care about nonprofit board leadership. I'll just say another word about Len. I happened to meet Len a year ago. He and I both do something that's a bit of an odd line of work. We both run family foundations, and Len and I met at a small gathering of nonprofit board of foundation board leaders who run family foundations. And Len and I got to know each other a little bit then, and then I had the pleasure a few months after that to come here. The Annenberg offices are just across the street, and to visit with Len and to really understand more deeply what the Annenberg Foundation has done. And I got to know what I think is a great foundation leader, a great contributor to the community in Los Angeles, and I want to give to you tonight Leonard Aube.
Thank you, Phil. And I think, you know, one of the absolute treasures and benefits of being in a position like this and the roles that we play are just the extraordinary people that we meet. So as Phil said, we got to meet one another recently, and he's one of these kinds of people that after you meet them, you just feel like your life is richer. So Phil, thank you for the kind comments, and thank you very much for your friendship. So I know this is a little like impossible to throw everybody into like a reception like this, and then somebody has to come up here and say, okay, hold your Coronas for just a moment. And it's very difficult to kind of shush the party. But I'm super pleased to be here this evening at this extraordinary gathering of nonprofit leaders and to welcome you to this year's BoardSource Leadership Forum. I want to begin really by quoting a young man from a very different sector of our economy addressing the exact theme of the conference: bold leadership, taking risks, and thinking big. He said the biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks. And that young man, of course, is Mark Zuckerberg, who not only revolutionized his field, he even managed to get a man my age to sign up for Facebook. And this, I believe, is the great challenge we face as we kick off this conference. How do we as nonprofit leaders show every bit as much grit, vision, and initiative that enables us to shed our inherent fear of change and pursue our vision of an improved quality of life for those we serve? In a time of government cutbacks and fast-mounting public needs, how do we avoid the cliche of simply doing more with less and truly revolutionizing social change in the work that we do? How do we take managerial risks and show that innovation and constant reinvention are anything but exclusive to the private sector? And lastly, how do we take on what may be the greatest challenge of all, to lead from a place of genuine vision? Many of us know that one person has profoundly impacted our field or ourselves, and perhaps is responsible for the very many of us being in the room today. I know meeting Wallace Annenberg completely changed my life, and I'm eternally grateful for that chance encounter that we had more than a decade ago. So did you ever ask yourself if your actions will lead you to that place where others view you as that visionary? We have a shared passion for the work that we do. It's important work. For many of us, the people that we serve, it's the difference between sickness and health, stagnation and opportunity, death and life itself. So I won't stand for anyone sort of running down the idea that the nonprofit sector or writing it off or implying that this second is anything but first rate. We in this room choose to do this work, and in many cases at some personal cost and expense and sacrifice, but that's precisely why we have to do better and do more. As you know, as you've heard, Wallace and the Annenberg Foundation have been working on looking at getting together at the heart of some of the most complex and pressing social problems in the fabric of our community, where the importance of quality governance, in response to all of that, Alchemy was born. We believe in a close synergistic relationship between board chairs and CEOs, because real excellence demands real partnership, rowing in the same direction at all times. And one of the things that we talk about in those workshops is the difference between what we do and who we are. And so much of what happens at convenings like this and through the workshops and seminars that you're involved in, it's about your personal professional development, and there's a lot of intellectual stimulation, and there's a lot of sort of data exchange and knowledge sharing that goes on, but it's not entirely what we're about. So if I had to sort of look around the room and sort of generalize a little bit, you know, I would say the vast majority of the people in this room are sort of type A personalities. Would that be fair? I think so. So if I said, hey, here's a specific task that we'd like to pursue, the people in this room, given who you are, how you're developed, and how you're hardwired, you would sort of get it together. So if I just made something up and said, hey, let's like build a boat together, half of the people in the room would say, I'll go get the wood. That section of the room would say, hey, I'll go get the building materials. I'll get this the chandlery. Another group of you would say, hey, I specialize in sail making. Somebody else might say, I'm into weather forecasting and can bring that to the table. And by the very nature of what you've chosen to do professionally, you'd weave all that together, and we'd meet on the beach, and you'd create this vessel, and we'd have it. But so much about what BoardSource is doing by bringing you together and the information that's being shared is we can never forget, but having the boat, staying with that metaphor, it's just the vessel. Who among us is really going to be responsible for bringing together individuals and talking about the open and boundless possibilities of the open sea? Because putting the boat together is what we do. Helping people discover the boundless possibilities of human potential within themselves is who we are. So we're very pleased to welcome you to tonight's event. We're thrilled to be a part of this and to help support and sponsor the work. Again, Phil, thank you. And at this point, we're going to reintroduce you to the chairman of the board of BoardSource, John Griswold. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Len. Those are terrific remarks and inspiring. And I want to again thank Annenberg Foundation for their support of BoardSource, this conference, and this reception. As I mentioned this morning at the opening session, this year marks BoardSource's 25th anniversary. And I'd like to take a moment to offer a special toast. 25 years ago, a group of nonprofit leaders from the Association of Governing Boards of Universities and Colleges and the independent sector got together and identified the fact that without strong leadership from boards, our sector was at risk. They saw the challenges that the institutions and organizations were facing, and they knew that stronger boards were the answer. Since then, BoardSource has been instrumental in supporting literally hundreds of thousands of boards. We did something to quantify that recently, and since 1988, bear with me, statistics, we've helped almost 4,000 boards assess their performance. We provided more than 50,000 leaders with governance training and disseminated more than 1.6 million publications. But, as Ann has shared this morning, we know that's just the beginning, and there's a lot more work to do. For tonight, however, for all of you here at this reception, we should pause just to celebrate 25 years of success. Thank all of you for being part of our first 25 years. Our organizations, our society at large is stronger for it. Cheers. Thank you very much. Enjoy your reception. We'll see you in the morning.